Hello everybody and welcome back to Hearts of Iron, where we are currently, if I can get zoomed here, attempting to dig in on this line here. We have a lot more troops now down here, and that is absolutely great. Our main problem at this point is just the sheer number of German troops, but we can also see that that's working to our advantage, because at this point they're having some supply issues. They've moved so many troops in that their supplies are being stretched thin. That's great. We're really happy about that, because that means that we can just dig in here as hard as we want. We're going to get this railroad up this way done fairly soon, and we do want to get eventually this supply hub built, but that is a fairly low priority for the moment. I want to check in on our air power here. Hello. 64.8. Okay, I'm just thinking here. It's not high enough to nuke. And we'll only be able to nuke in this air zone. But that would allow us to push up over here and take this whole air zone. That would be huge. But we'll see how realistic getting enough to do that would actually be. Let's go ahead and move our 2 new units into this army here. Cool. We'll see if they make it. It's a bit dicey, navally. Let's look at our supplies here. Yeah, we definitely could use more supply work. We do still have a naval bottleneck on this naval base. I believe we're constructing that right now. Yes, we are. Okay, cool. So that's absolutely fine. And construction-wise, we're definitely digging in here. We're getting some very good progress on that. We will be done with our railroad here in 5 days. So that's beautiful. Another thing that we could look at is leveling up some of these further flung railroads here. Like, for example, this one. This one's not very relevant, but this one could be. Something kind of like that. This one's not super relevant, but we may want to level that one up as well. For the time being, no other railroads over here really need it. And these shouldn't take very long to get done. They'll take a little while. I'm going to definitely work on this naval base as our top priority for the moment. I think we're largely dug in enough as long as we don't get aggressive here. We can assign a new trait to Leslie Moorehead, though. Organization first gives us reinforce rate. Max entrenchment would actually be really good here. We're going to grab that. So we're going to be able to entrench a lot. And that's really good. We don't really want to try to push out against the Germans here. We just want to dig in. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're tying up a lot of their troops. Like, actually, let's take a quick look here. So, German Empire, Intel Ledger. They don't have much for manpower, we know that. They've been hovering around here for a while. But in terms of their deployed manpower, 4 to 8 million. Let's assume the high end of that. Or actually, we could look at their divisions here. We could assume the high end of that. So let's assume that they have 1235. They have here facing us. They have 39 plus 20 plus 4 plus 12 plus 7 plus 14... plus 10, plus 11, plus 16, plus 13, plus 20. That is 166. That means that this... Well, actually, let's take 1235 divided by 166. Cool. This, assuming the best possible numbers for Germany, that they have the full 1235 here. It's almost certainly lower than that. But assuming that they have the 1235 number here, this is 7.5% of their army that we're tying up. That's a big deal, considering how small we are. We have another infantry division that we can send on over. Do we have another one here too? Yeah, these have been training like all last episode, so that's fine. And these are going to be empty on manpower for a while, but that's okay. So we got ourselves some progress there. That's always great. And how are we doing on our tank production? Because if we want to go offensive here, tank production is our major issue right now. The answer to that is we're making 4 tanks per day, and we will get more tanks. But we need 2,500. So it's going to be rough. Okay. But I'm perfectly content with Germany doing probing attacks right now. We're going to be finishing up this naval base upgrade, and we don't need further naval base upgrades here because of our rail bottlenecks. We're going to be finishing up our naval base upgrade here in 8 days. Cool. A week now. And our railroads will be finishing up quite soon too. So this should all be good. How's our air superiority looking now? Still not quite 79%, or actually 75%. It's potentially going to get there. Potentially. They're losing a lot more than we are, and that's because we control the air defenses over here. We can see that we've got 8 anti-air, and they've got 3 anti-air. So that's a definite benefit to us. We'd love to see it dip up to 75. So that way we can drop nukes on some of their high concentrations over here. We wouldn't be able to drop over here, but that would be okay. Peru wants to move troops through our territory. Sure, why not? Okay. Their number of fighters just dropped. But our air superiority also dropped. That makes me sad. I want to double check that, right? Is 75%? Yes, 75% air superiority to drop nukes in this region. And we would definitely want to do that and then immediately launch an attack. That attack would look not like this. This attack is at this point simply not going to happen anytime soon. So I'm going to get rid of that. That attack would look like this. But we're not going to launch that attack yet. That's for sure. We can already see they have some logistics issues. Their supply status is 40%. Down here it's 27%. And down here it is not showing up. 33%. Okay. So that's fine. I want to check in. Okay. This naval base finished. So we need to drop the priority of this. It's no longer necessary because our railway bottlenecks are now going to be the bottleneck. No longer will it be the naval base bottlenecks. Cool. I want to double check on infrastructure. Yeah, we've already got that going. We could upgrade this airbase. I don't think that's a huge boon for us right now. We did finish up a railway. And with that extra naval base plus the railway finishing up, our supplies are actually looking pretty good. Maybe not up here because we don't have control of the state, but our supplies up this way are not bad looking. Cool. I want to check in on the air. Okay. So they're back up to 750 planes here. Fair enough. They have comparable numbers to us. Now, our main problem with replacing these planes is manpower. It is not really anything to do with production of planes. That said, we shot down 9 planes in this air tick, and they shot down 1. Like a 9-to-1 ratio is really good. Overall, we are winning the air war, but the question is, can we replace our planes? Our pilots, specifically. If we could take these air bases, that would be a huge deal. Alternatively, if they were to just drop their planes here briefly, that would be a big deal too. But the air war is what's really happening here. we could increase, or perhaps just get rid of our bombers here. And bring this up to 1,000 planes. That's a possibility. So with that step up, I mean, they're still losing more than we are by a substantial margin, but we just don't quite have the air superiority that I'd like. We could look down over here at our carriers, which are not really doing anything of note. There's these carriers over here. We could definitely move that down and dock it over here. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to head on down. And once they arrive, we're going to try to use those planes to establish a little bit more air superiority here. We don't need much. We don't need much. Venezuela wants to move troops through our territory. That's reasonably okay. And we're now done building all of our railways. We're now working on our land forts further. They're continuing to attack primarily only in this region. So we're continuing to focus on our land forts in this region. That'll be fine. And realistically, we'll have these done pretty soon. This is just getting worse for them. How's our tank deficit looking, though? That's something we need to keep an eye on. We're down to 2411, so it has definitely improved. We've gotten about 100 tanks worked out of our deficit. That's very, very good. We're still improving our tank production as well. We can bring this up by about another 35% production efficiency. So that's very, very good. Now, where's that Navy at? They're on their way. They'll be arriving here fairly soon. Cool. So with 7.5% on the low end of the German troops here, what is everyone else doing? Well, it looks like there's been another invasion in Portugal. And it looks like the French Commune area is potentially actually trying to push out now. They've dug in, potentially, and are attempting to push out. Kingdom of Italy has taken all of this, so they've kicked them off of Sardinia and Corsica. That's fine. How are things going in Asia? India has fallen back a little bit, but overall they appear to be holding this line. Cool. So the rest of the war has stalled out a little bit. We'd really like to see huge numbers of Germans being sent elsewhere. And actually, I do see movements here. Looks like they're just redistributing over their line here. They're not leaving. That's to be expected. Okay, so our task force is going to arrive here shortly. Fantastic. And these guys, they're going to come up to this area. I want these guys to be on air superiority, but they can't perform missions. I don't know if they're actually going to do anything in this area, to be honest. I don't think they are. We're having substantial success in the air. The question is, can we maintain it? And how many more planes can they afford to send at this? Because I'm assuming they're having massive air battles elsewhere as well. This can't be the only location that they're having a massive air contestation, right? Surely that's not the case. Our planes are definitely very efficient. They are very good at what they do. Cool. That wasn't the best day for us, but that was still... I mean, we're still having very, very good... Like, very, very good air stats here. This is all looking great. So we're working on wresting that over, but that's... I'm not even going to call that like a war of attrition, right? We kind of need the Germans to reallocate forces elsewhere to be able to do things in the air here. Yes, it's a war of attrition. And we may actually want to do more ground crews and get some efficiency boost here. That's probably for the best. Even more efficiency is always good. So we'll get that going. How's our dig-in going? Honestly, we're making really good progress on it. That's great. Honduras wants to move troops through our territory. Sounds good. So what's our overall plan here? If we manage to get an opportunity where our air superiority hits 75%, then we drop a bunch of nukes in this area and launch an offensive to capture that. That's the idea there. The real question that I have now is, will we get the opportunity? I don't know. It feels like they are more able to replace their planes than we are. And I think the reason for that, well, it all boils down to manpower, right? Manpower is definitely the reason for that. All of our tank divisions here are maxed out on manpower. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cancel the production of two tank divisions here. Those tanks will come out to this line, and that manpower is instantly gone. And now we're going to add 2 more. And we're going to cancel this one. Or actually, we can't do that, can we? That manpower went down here. We're going to cancel everything here. We had 8 total divisions being recruited. That manpower will get sucked up elsewhere. And we'll come back and get those recruits going again later. But for the time being, I want that manpower to be able to sustain this. This air war here is incredibly important to us. And we can't really bring in more planes right now. Okay. It's definitely awkward here. But now that we're out of manpower, we should queue these back up. So I don't want to edit this right now. I want to train our infantry divisions, and we'll train 5 divisions of that. And our armored divisions, 3 divisions of that. Cool. 2165 now for a modern tank chassis. That's a big improvement. Okay, so we moved a lot of manpower into this air battle, right? That's definitely something we did. Another thing we could consider doing is tossing in 1 unit of anti-air in our infantry divisions, like this. That's a possibility. Another option Another option would be tossing them into our Marines. Like that. But I don't know how good that would be either. I think a single unit of anti-air in our infantry is not the worst idea, though. Or support anti-air instead of, like, the motorized recon company, maybe? But I think that our... We could swap out the support artillery for support anti-air in our infantry. And then keep the support artillery for our tanks, who are intended to be the ones who punch through the lines. That's a possibility. We could do that. And our question now is, do we require production of anti-air. Are we making anti-air right now? The answer to that is no, we are not. So we're going to need to produce infantry and artillery equipment. Advanced anti-air 3. And we'll bring this up to here. Bring that up to 2. And I'm going to back off on our truck production, as well as our advanced artillery production, or actually our infantry equipment production for right now. There we go. So we'll get that making. And we'll start distributing anti-air to our infantry out here. Cool. So eventually that will take some measure of effect. But really it's our constructions here that we need to get finished up. And we need to get our tank logistics turned around. That's very clear. Okay. So we're currently producing 3.45 per week. We need 700 advanced anti-air for now. That was just 800, wasn't it? I think it was. And this is saying we need stuff for reinforcement. I think we're okay. I don't think this is actually real. Yeah, look at all that we have stockpiled. Cool. So 2,100 tanks to produce and 700 advanced anti-air. We're making 4.25 per week. And our production efficiency isn't great right now. That will definitely come up. So as that starts to get distributed, we should start to do slightly better in this air war. I hope. I hope. But now is not the time to push out. Although it does look to me like... Did they move in more units, or did they move units out, or just move them around? There's 34 up here now. Interesting. I think they've just moved them around. I think they have the same roughly number of troops here. But for the time being, we are not in the slightest interested in pushing out. Now, I do notice that we lost a tank division here, and I think that's just because we don't have tanks to reinforce them. I think that's the only reason that that's happening. So if we come in here, that's probably why this number dropped down, because we lost that tank division. I'm guessing that's what happened there. That said, our tank production is ramping up. Air war here is only at 50%. That's a bit of a yikes, for sure. Our air detection is not the greatest. We may want to think about building those radars. How quickly do radars build? Not super fast, but not super slow either. Let's get those underway. I feel like we have sufficient land forts at this point, and anything else that we get done here is just gravy, right? I feel like that's the case. So for the moment, we'll just allow this to sit here as it is. And I'm wondering, how many factories do the Germans have on their air? It's almost certainly way more than we have creating airplanes. 230 or 221 to 237. Right. I want to check in though. 4 to 7 million. So their deployed army manpower is definitely dropping. They're definitely not able to sustain this. Although they have fixed some of their logistics issues out here. Not all of them, but some of them. Fair enough. I mean, we've done some pretty hefty logistics work here too. And our logistics are pretty good in this area at this point. So that's great. I do want to... Okay, that's this one. Yeah, let's go ahead and make that one the top priority for the moment. and then we'll finish up Natal over here fairly soon. But it is about time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we are going to see about, hopefully, getting some air superiority over here. We'll see if it ends up happening. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including Casserole, JJ Gamer, ALS Gamer, Kentuin, Jensgram, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Video Games Are Not Real, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.